everyone. We're the student of the University of Buea studying civics and ethics, and today we're going to talk about the African traditional value. An African man is a proud man. An African man is a hospitable man, a man who is proud of who he is. So today, these values are hospitality, chastity, good moral values, and good ethical behavior. We're going to know more in the following presentation, or we're going to expatiate.
Positive communication as an African cultural value and defined as a communication that is built on respect and also builds trust and collaboration, or in other words, we say it's the chief cornerstone in building a healthy and mentally society. So in Africa, it is seen that for a young person to speak in the gathering of elders without being given a permission, it's regarded disrespectful.
Greetings everyone. I'm going to be talking about greeting as part of our African value. There are two ways of greeting in Africa. We have the formal and informal way of greeting. The informal way of greeting is hello. That means you greet someone hello when the person is among your peers or when you're in a more relaxed environment or setting. Now, on the other hand, you greet someone with a handshake when the person is an elder. But most especially, the person should be the one extending the hand to you, and not you, a younger person, extending your hand to an elder. Another way of greeting is by stooping and with your two hands stretched towards the elderly person. And if the person is a little bit far away from you, you could just stoop and you greet the person without necessarily sending your hands. So those are the two most particular ways of greeting in Africa. Thank you.
Taking and giving with your left hand is considered disrespectful. And also, receiving gifts with both hands in Africa is meant to be an expression of love, respect, and also it brings good luck and right away.
I'm going to be talking about eating with the right hand as an African value. You might have heard before that the right hand is for eating food, while the left hand is left for unsanitary tasks, which comes after eating food. In an African home and in an African tradition, you cannot dip your left hand inside a meal while you are sitting on the table with elderly people, because it's considered disrespectful towards the elder. Also, taking something with your left hand while eating is considered disrespectful towards the elderly people. So in an African home, don't ever try to take something from the table or eat with your left.
Speaking on respect of elders as an African value, it is considered that the very foundation of the African culture is seen in the past and in the present, and as such, our ancestors and living elders must be treated with respect, as they are considered as part of the foundation of our African culture. Some ways in which you can treat elders with respect is not talking when they are speaking, or not crossing your feet in the presence of an elder. There are many other ways in which you can show respect, but I'll just end there for now.
I'll be talking on pointing at things or someone as an African value. So it is considered in Africa to be disrespectful, rude, or just plain ignorance when you point at someone with your index finger. Pointing at people during a conversation, like with your peers, is not considered disrespectful. It might be considered as an understanding or a fun interaction. But pointing at someone at a distance or indicating at someone to your neighbor from a distance can be considered disrespectful. Pointing at an elder is equally considered disrespectful. So in African values, the way we understand pointing or the way we demonstrate pointing is either using our chin or widening our eyes like this.
I am going to be talking about hand motion calling. In the African setting, it is very much preferable to call somebody with your hands facing downwards rather than calling somebody with your hands facing upwards, because calling someone with the hand facing upwards is considered disrespectful. So whether you're talking or you're interacting with your peers or with an elderly person or even with your younger ones at home, it is not advisable to call or do actions with your hands facing upwards. It is very much good and acceptable to use your hands or call someone using the hand that is facing downwards. Understand?
Okay, I'm going to be talking about talking while eating as part of an African value. First of all, talking while eating is normally not accepted anywhere. It's a bad table manners. More still in an African context, when you're seated on the table with elders or with people, it is preferable not to talk while eating, because food can come out from your mouth and go into somebody else's plate, which is rude and bad manner. Also on the table, it's not good to extend your hand. If you want something from a neighbor or far from you, you can just ask someone to please give it to you, rather than stretching your hands and talking while eating. In a nutshell, having heard all the points that we have developed here today, we want to conclude by saying that our African value and tradition are very dear to us. So we will advise as a group that we should try as much as possible to maintain these African values, because it is what identifies us and makes us stand out in the world, rather than allowing Western cultures to dominate our values. We need to keep these values to be able to transmit them to our children as it was transmitted to us by our forefathers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.